Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Shri.
Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Shri.
Jai Srimanarayan.
Jai Shri.
I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to our Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to our 12 Valvas. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally and internationally, and I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and various groups from around the world subsequently. Today is day 12 of our celebrations of the month of the Ramanujans, which will culminate on the 27th of May. And I welcome Lord Ramanuj and my Guru Swami Sudarshan Acharya Maharaj. These days of celebration have been created specifically for Guruji and Lord Ramanuj. It is in these days we can discuss the pastimes of Lord Ramanuj, our Sampradaya, the integral entities that brought and gave the Sampradaya life to this point in time. And all the components that play an integral part in the Sampradaya. We also discuss personal, our ashram, the Sri Narayan Dham, its involvement locally, nationally, and sometimes internationally, our successes, our failures. It is a time to rejoice, to take stock, to take inventory, to re-energize, and then plod on after the 27th of May on a spiritual journey. It has come to my notice that devotees do not want to follow the principles that are unpacked from the Vedas diligently. Whatever position I put them in, from the highest to the lowest to transcribing, somehow it is very difficult for them to absorb the essence of the Vedas. But this also gives me an opportunity to revisit these topics and come in with a fresh discourse, hoping somewhere, somebody, someplace in the world will use this information to start their spiritual journey. So the grace of the Supreme Lord is the Guru principle. The Lord is absolute. He is neither partial nor impartial. If you're absolute, then you have to remain absolute. However, He has created a system where you reap your righteous rewards and you suffer your unrighteous rewards. This is a karma system. This is independent of the Supreme Lord. It is only your own action that accrues this karma, or it is your action that depletes these karmas. So it would be perceived wrongly if we say God showers His grace on both the divine and the non-divine equally. What message are we sending if we say that the Supreme Lord showers His grace equally on both the divine and the non-divine?
You don't have to be divine.
Yes, there will be a false perception. So to be divine in this world takes a whole lot of sacrifices, doesn't it? And to be non-divine or evil, is there any sacrifices? And if we say that God showers His grace equally among all people, whether divine or non-divine, then the message to the non-divine would be, continue doing what you are doing. You don't have to sacrifice like those that are divine. So any person that sends this message, is he creating divinity or non-divinity? Because it is very dangerous. Is it not dangerous? If the government makes a decree that criminals and non-criminals will be treated equally by the government, what message are we sending to society?
Government is supporting criminality.
Government is supporting criminality, yes? So it doesn't matter who says this, even the greatest guru. If you want information whether God is impartial or partial or how He showers His grace, who must give you that information? Who? God Himself. Because gurus are not to be trusted. If you go into Sanatana Dharma and see the 1,000 interpretation of gurus, that is why God Himself compiled the Vedas. There is no reason for God to incarnate, but He incarnates many, many times and comes on this earth because He does not trust man. Man likes to make changes. Man likes to make changes. So He compiled the breath. His breath is the 4 Vedas. His breath is all Vedic knowledge. He compiled His own breath and systemized it into a library of information called the Vedas. And He incarnated on numerous occasions, and He gave more than abundant knowledge on how the spiritual world is to be approached. Did He not? So again I'm saying, it is easy for preachers to mislead society. So if a guru says God graces both the divine and the non-divine, how many people will he be appeasing? A lot of people start getting a lot of followers. Why? He's pleasing the people. You understand? And this is why I'm saying, I gave so many hundreds of these courses, and people even transcribed these discourses, but they learned absolutely nothing, because you can never ever make a statement that God is impartial and he graces all. But I want to explain. The river Ganges, what is said to be the quality of the water in the river Ganges? Absolutely pure. And scientists took samples of water that was surrounding a dead body, and they could find no impurity in it. There was a scientific experiment done. Growing along the banks of the Ganges, you get beautiful fruit trees, and you get trees that produce poison. Trees that produce poison. Both these type of trees is nourished by this pure water. But the character of one tree is divine. The fruit yielding tree will be in Satagun, and the poison yielding tree will be in Tamagun. So although the Ganges is impartial in providing its water to both type of trees, it is the tree itself that is divine or non-divine. Can that water that is supposed to be absolutely pure, can it change the poisonous tree into a fruit tree? So similarly, that statement that God is not partial and He showers His grace equally is a false statement, and it must be treated with contempt. You agree? And it is this type of statements that is flooding the world, and the weak-minded will take these statements for granted and defy the original teachings of the Supreme Lord. So, in this respect, I just want to read one or two verses from the Bhagavad Gita, because the Supreme Lord have to indicate His partiality or impartiality to a particular situation, persons or personalities, himself. And in chapter 16, verse 19, let's start from chapter 17. Self-conceited, self-sufficient, possessed of the intoxication of wealth and pride, they perform sacrifices in name only, with ostentation and not according to the injunctions of the sastras. Who is saying this? Let's read it again. Self-conceited, self-sufficient, possessed of the intoxication of wealth and pride, they perform sacrifices in name only, with ostentation and not according to the injunctions of the sastras. Who is he talking about? Whoever is given this false information, and they can include false gurus. So I was explaining the many functions in Sanatana Dharma in Kali Yuga. I stated meditation is for Satyuga. I stated gorgeous sacrifices and rituals is for Treta Yuga. I stated deity worship in the temple is for Dwapara Yuga. And I stated Sankirtana Yajna is for Kali Yuga. This is Vedic injunctions by the Supreme Lord Himself. This is what the Lord has stated. This is a Vedic injunction. Those gurus that's teaching meditation today, are they in line with the Supreme Lord's instructions for Kali Yuga? Those gurus that's teaching sacrifices and rituals, are they in line with the Supreme Lord's teachings? Those gurus that's teaching deity worship, involved in havans, involved in various types of rituals, are they in line with the Supreme Lord's injunctions? And what is the Lord saying? What is the Lord saying? Chapter 18. Depending on the egoism, power and pride, and also of desire and wrath, these malicious men hate me in their own bodies and those of others. Can you love the Supreme Lord and defy His instructions at the same time? If you love the Supreme Lord, then you have to follow every instruction of His to the T. But when you pretend to love the Supreme Lord, but you text torture His instructions to suit your ego, are you a lover or a hater of the Supreme Lord? Because a lover of the Supreme Lord will know that you cannot text. Yes? Those haters, cruel, vilest and most inauspicious of mankind, I hurl forever into cycles of births and deaths, into the wombs of demons. Is God partial or impartial? Let's answer this in its context. And again, I'm quoting from the Bhagavad Gita. Those haters, cruel and the vilest and the most inauspicious of mankind, I hurl forever into cycles of births, deaths, into the wombs of demons. And then let's go back to the first sentence where it is said that God showers His grace equally to friends and enemies. And then connect it to this verse, verse 19 of chapter 16. Those haters, cruel, the vilest and the most inauspicious of mankind, I hurl forever into cycles of births and deaths, into wombs of demons. So is God partial or impartial? Oh, He's partial.
It's partial.
Yes? Yeah. Because He is hurling these people Himself into demonic wombs. He Himself is hurling these people into demonic wombs. Then how can we say He's impartial? And how can we say He showers His grace equally amongst the divine and the non-divine, where He Himself takes action? He Himself takes action personally. You understand? So we have to be very, very careful when you're sitting on the side of madness and trying to correct a guru. Trying to correct a guru. Guru needs no correction. Guru cannot be, and that is a bona fide guru. A bona fide guru cannot be corrected in terms of the Vedas. Yeah, if I drank a cup of tea and I left my cup somewhere where it was not supposed to be left, you can correct me and say, Guruji, please leave your cup in the kitchen. I'm just saying. But you can't correct me, or you can't correct a bona fide spiritual master in the sastras. You can only correct him in the sastras with the sastras, and not through madness. You understand? And sometimes the Guru will come hard on you, because if you had the opportunity to have first-hand knowledge for years and years and years and years, and then you go and do things and think you are right, and that is why I'm saying it is madness. So I want to conclude this portion with chapter 24 of verse 16. You see, I've been teaching for many, many years, and I never thought out of the Shastras. But sometimes I have to reaffirm my teachings through Vedic injunctions, what I am doing now. So I opened up a topic, and I am concluding the topic, and throughout the topic I provided scriptural evidence, not evidence that I conjured up somewhere. Scriptural evidence spoken by the Lord himself. The Lord didn't leave room for any mistakes, and He has answered any question. And therefore I always say that it is our job as gurus to answer even the most difficult question. We must not answer questions where it suits us. We must answer any question at any place instantly without researching, because if you are enlightened, then what do you have to research? You're supposed to know it. So now I'm going to conclude verse 23. He who, abandoning the injunctions of the Shastras, acts under the influence of desire, attains neither perfection nor pleasure nor the supreme state. So from this there can be a million answers to a million questions, but I'm talking in the context of these gurus who deviate from the Shastras and make their own teachings and make their own flock and make their own followers. In that context, the Supreme Lord is saying, he, abandoning the injunctions of the Shastras, acts under the influence of desire. To be a bona fide spiritual master, you cannot have desire. Do you understand? And because they have desire, and the previous verse stated ego, the ego and the desire combined makes them godlike. Makes them godlike. Attains neither perfection nor pleasure, nor the supreme state. So all these gurus in the world, here Lord Sri Krishna is giving a direct message. All those gurus that's teaching meditation, that's teaching yoga, that's teaching rituals, these and sacrifices, these gurus have not attained any perfection, nor the supreme state. And then lastly, chapter 24, he gives a command. Therefore, let the Shastras be your authority for determining what should be done and what should not be done. Knowing what is in the injunctions of the Shastras, you should perform work here. And are we doing that? Are we within the Vedic injunctions in everything that we do?
Yes.
So I'll conclude my spiritual discourse at this point, and Avir, you can cut this point for TikTok. So there was also a comment made on one of my TikToks stating that I am in competition with a comedian, or I used to call him the village idiot. And it was stated, well, it stated that because this village idiot went into politics, now the guru is involved in politics. Guru is involved in politics since the age of 40. Guru is involved as a political activist since the age of 40. And throughout Guru's life, Guru has been involved in politics, in community upliftment, in societal upliftment, involved in various projects that brought the Guru to this state. Then I have my own Vedic injunctions as well. If you go on my YouTube, you see I actively became involved in politics again in 2021. At that time, Village Idiot was not involved in any political activities. In fact, Village Idiot has stated that after coming to the ashram, his interest in politics was initiated, and I made a statement that one day he'll be using his own name and I will kill his demonic character. So today he is using his real name quite proudly. So these predictions are true, they can be found on YouTube. So I'm 62 now. I won every battle in my life. And my battle started very, very early in my life. You think at the end of my life I'm going to go follow a village idiot? Understand? So I'm dressed in green. Happy birthday, Sita.
Thank you, Sacha.
You're supposed to be dressed in green. I'll send you straight to Melvin Governor. He's leading the EFF on the Indian side. Alright? Thank you, Sita, for all that you do. I met you a few years ago and you stuck around and you've shown yourself to be a disciple of this ashram through all that you go through. Your life has not been easy. I think very few people can live the life you have lived, even after coming to ashram. But like Vasan, you are one-pointed. Your one-pointed devotion is shining like a huge torch. And I hope you celebrate more birthdays at the ashram. Please do not go astray and from the outside think you know more than the Guru. Everyone does that, alright? And I know you like to get darshan, but unfortunately no darshan here at this ashram. Only absolute pure Vedic nectarian knowledge that can really, really change your life if you are not a fake disciple. Alright? A true disciple can get there, life changed in a woof. Alright? So happy birthday again, once again, Sita. I'm dressed in green. 3 weeks ago, I did a post at the airport and I wrote, I'm sacrificing for my country again and again and again. I suffered extreme cold in Pretoria. My bones were frozen. There was a 6 to 6 interfaith prayer. God was with me. I came out without a cough, without a flu. Same outfit. And I was wearing my grey jacket over it. I walked up and down the streets of Pretoria looking for food. It was very, very difficult for me to get vegetarian food, anything. I'm looking for chips, I was looking for half loaf of bread, nothing. I had to stay. Then when I found a shop and I bought cool drink and I bought a packet of biscuits and I bought 2 packets of chips, somebody took my bag and kept it in their car, in their boot. While they were helping me, I was carrying a big bag around. So I found it disrespectful to tell them, no, I need my bag. I need to have my bag. And then that night, we went to a huge church and I saw a dining hall set up. And hey, I thought, God, thank you. You sent me to food. Not even, I couldn't find even butter bread. Buttered bread. Because everything had some sort of meat. And then I ate at the airport at 9:30 the next morning. All right. And then I asked Ashmika to make me some sandwiches for the trip. I said they serve and nuts. So I have a whole lot of things in I bought a knapsack because I didn't want to carry that bag. So somebody might say, leave it in the taxi. And then once we're in Orlando Stadium and to security and going in and out, that's another story. So I bought a knapsack and I'm going to take my food into the stadium. So there's no time. We don't know what time the event will start, neither do we know what time the event will end. We don't know whether there'll be bathing facilities. So we'll carry our deodorants, our toothpaste, and we'll tackle it when it comes right. But again, I want to say, and my 2 boys were querying why I just don't fly up instead of driving 8 hours squashed up in a minibus taxi. So flying up is no problem. But going to Orlando Stadium from the airport, for me, it will be very, very difficult at my age to jump off a plane, go look for an Uber or a taxi. And I'd rather go with people that I know. So my country is so important for me that I can undergo these discomforts because I know whatever input I am putting into this organization, it will make a spiritual difference. If not in totality, partially, because I'm singing in all these rallies, I'm either chanting the mantra Om or Om Namo Narayan. So God has to be with me. These chantings of the mantra is now being dispersed around the country. Whenever I do a prayer, it goes viral. Any prayer I do at these rallies go viral, so it's in every home, it's everywhere. Om Namo Narayan mantra is everywhere, or the mantra Om is everywhere in South Africa. And I'm saying this with love. I'm saying this with love. So I want to just make clear, I'm not in any interim structure of the MK party. I only joined the party 2 months ago when I was invited. Although there are many events taking place everywhere and I'm very, very popular in the organization, I can attend all of these events. I have capacity to attend all of these events. I only attend an event if I am invited. I don't go and pray at these events unless I am put onto the program. So for the Orlando manifesto launch, I was invited, and there's no confirmation that I am on the program. I do not go to these events to be on any program. I go to these events to support these events both materially and spiritually, and have a few dances. Apart from discos, so I'm using these rallies, Cyril,
Yes, sir.
yeah, to just have a few dances. It's legal. So far there has been no complaints me dancing at these rallies. Okay, so I will be taking the taxi at 11 p.m. From a very beautiful location, Sun Coast Casino. And I'm going to be dressed like this at the drop-off zone. I think for the very first time, a guru will be standing at the entrance of the casino. And again, people can take videos and photos and create a fake narrative. Okay? So I did not want to inform the organizers to change the venue because of me. So, and this is why I'm saying you're not going to find, go check in the history of gurus, which guru jumped in a taxi to go and pray for his country, you understand, with no food. You're not going to find these things. So I am unique. I do things according to the Sastras. Nothing stops me from sitting in a taxi and going from Durban to Joburg. End result is whatever I am doing, I'm doing for my country. I'm doing for the citizens of South Africa. Even if it changes the life of one citizen, it's more than enough for myself. So my involvement in politics, many years, I was not only involved in politics, I was involved on many structures, and I think God is culminating, is bringing everything back together. And it must be noted that I held a very high and esteemed position in a political party when I was initiated and instructed to become a guru. And I was asked to relinquish all positions and our business as well, which was a very prosperous business. So I left politics to become a guru, and I left a multi-million rand industry to become a guru. So I am not a guru either to become a politician or to make any money. I left those two things, and then I became a guru. Jai Shri Ramanujans.